at what this tired old man had to say. He said, I have been around a long, long time, and I have seen and experienced a whole lot of things. But out of all that I have seen, I have never seen the righteous forsaken, nor have I seen his seed beg bread. This man who was talking has seen pastures green for cattle and sheep to graze in. This is the language of a man who had seen the many beauty sunrises and the glory of many sunsets. He had seen himself standing beneath the shadow of a towering giant Goliath. And as he came between two mountains shouting, give me a man to fight with me. This man had seen himself escalated from the pastorship to the palace, and from shepherdship to kingship. He had seen kings and queens, potentates and statesmen of every nation. He had seen and made love upon the housetop. He had been called the greatest saint and the greatest sinner of the Old Testament. David had seen the lightning flash, and he had heard the thunder roar. And he had seen many times the lightning writing its mysterious language upon the black bosom of the clouds. But as he allowed his mind to go down, back down memory lane, he tells us tonight that one thing I've never seen. I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor a seed begging bread. When I stop and think about that, I have seen it. So I'm restricted for having been here not so many years. I am 72 years young. Yet I have not seen I've seen the righteous dissatisfied. I've seen them disappointed. I've seen the righteous broke and hungry. I've seen the righteous tied and in tears. I've seen them cast into prison, but not forsaken. Like David, I have never seen the righteous forsaken, nor have I seen the seed begging bread. Someone has said, isn't this strange language? Isn't this strange what this man is talking about tonight? Talking about he has never seen the righteous forsaken. That may have been all right in David's day, when he was out in the field tending the sheep. All right. And running up and down the hills side of Judea. But here in the 20th century, when I can hardly make my ends meet, and you are talking about the righteous are never forsaken, you forget, David, we live in a time of recession, depression, and oppression. And you have never seen the righteous forsaken? David, you need to live in times like these, where people have warrants being issued, eviction notice being served. Some of them have their furniture set out in the streets. And you're going to tell me that you have never seen the righteous forsaken? In these days when folks are on welfare and can't get along without Medicare. We need government agencies to build release programs. In these days when postage stamps are running up and food stamps are running out. All right, son, tell me something. Praise the Lord. In times like these when most of us are afraid to go to the mailbox, because we know we don't have no love letter there. Nothing but junk mail and bills. Yes. You're going to tell us that in the midst of Bushonomics, that you have never seen the righteous forsaken? But I hear David saying, if you just first and listen what the Spirit says unto the people of God everywhere. This is the declaration of assurance for all generations, for time and for eternity. The righteous never, never will be forsaken. You know, my friend, we the righteous have to be exposed to many difficulties, trials and tribulations. Paul said on one occasion that we through much tribulation must enter the kingdom of God. So just like everyone else does, we feel the crunch of a strange economy, because in each life some rain must fall, and some wind must blow, and some storms must rise. But here in this day in which we live, the question arises, why do the righteous suffer and the wicked prosper? It looks like people who don't care what they do, and where they do it, and who they do it with. Thank you, Jesus. Sometimes I know you're frustrated. Sometimes we find ourselves fretting, worried, anxious, disturbed, and perplexed by evil and evildoers, and look like everything that they do turns to gold. And people who are weak are not only have observed, but who have been tempted to do evil. For they saw some people who ostensibly seem to be doing all right with evil. But I can hear David saying, fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut down like the grass, and wither like the green earth. But trust in the Lord, and do good, and so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. My friend, yes, the question arises, why does the righteous suffer and the wicked prosper? I wish I could tell you tonight, but I cannot. But I can tell you this, that temporal calamities are not always the consequences of sin. For the Bible said that there was a man in the land of Earth whose name was Job. God said that the man was perfect and upright. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters, 7,000 head of sheep, 3,000 head of camels, 500 yoke oxen, and 500 she-asses. The Bible declares that he was the richest man of the East, a patriarchal chieftain, a desert prince, a king of immense wealth and influence, famous for his integrity and benevolence. He was a prince of the patriarchal East, for whom the highest point from the highest point of prosperity, he was suddenly cast down to utter poverty and misery, stricken with the loathsome disease, commonly thought to have been a horrible form of leprosy, complicated by elephantiasis, one of the most painful diseases then known to the Orient world, forsaken by his wife and friends, and yet he held on to God. He was ignorant of the Mosaic law and Jewish worship. He lived outside of Palestine on the borderline, extending from Eden toward the Euphrates River, skirting the Caravan route between Babylon and Egypt. Nevertheless, he was a worshiper of the true God, an inspired prophet, a hero of faith, a model of patience and endurance. He was upright in his dealings. He was faithful in every promise. Steadfast in his counsel. True to every trust. Made conscious of all that he said and did. I know you want to make me feel good, but thank you. Thank you, Jesus. Made conscious of all that he said and did. And one day, when the sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in the elder brother's house, a messenger run up